So we're still, even though we've been in business formally for almost 2 years, we're still babies in the business world, right? So there are a lot of challenges starting a business that is one of the firsts in Nigeria. We don't have so many cocoa processing companies or chocolate making companies, and even for the ones that are available, there are very few that have a proper factory space or are distributing to, let's say, customers in other geographical locations. So there are a lot of challenges, and these challenges include power supply, right? Power supply in Nigeria is bad, so we have to invest in alternate sources of power, and cocoa processing is really power intensive. So that's one of the areas that we face a lot of challenges, that our costs are so high. Then even just the knowledge of running a cocoa processing factory as well, because we don't have predecessors or many predecessors, we've had to learn a lot, and learning involves making mistakes, and mistakes do have their own costs as well. So it's all part of the process, but those are one of the challenges that we encounter. And then of course the biggest one, logistics in Nigeria is a nightmare. And then add on top of that, logistics of transporting temperature controlled or temperature sensitive items. It's just not the same thing. Sometimes you may decide to supply chocolate in Lagos, and there's a risk that it may get them melted. So that's another area where the costs are just crazy high, and we're like barely managing to stay afloat because of the high costs. So we're also looking for ways to solve the problem. I tell myself that's what the entrepreneurship is really. It's about solving problems. I didn't expect to start the business and have everything worked out for me, all the infrastructure ready for me to use. So that's what we're doing, basically, trying to solve all these problems we have, but those are the main ones. Okay, so for us to scale and start enjoying the benefits of scale production, because that's another thing, we're still operating with smaller machines. We need to buy commercial grade machines, and we need to order in bulk, because that's another thing that is so cost intensive. So they expect you to, for example, order 20,000 pieces of packaging material for you to get a lower price. But that would be like putting all your work or tying down all your working capital in just packaging material. It doesn't make sense. So right now we're getting even our raw materials, our packaged material, everything we get at higher costs. So with bigger equipment, we'll be able to produce more, enjoy the benefits of scale, and also very importantly, we need to also export. One of the objectives of the business is to be able to get in foreign exchange into the country, right? The chocolate market, global market, is worth about $206 billion. We desperately need a share of that money in Nigeria, because we are the 4th largest producer of cocoa in the world. So we need to find a good way to get that money in, and that's by exporting to where the big markets for chocolate is. Then for logistics, right, the cheapest way, what we currently do is try and fly our products, right, because the risk is too much sending them by road. So when we supply, we fly the product. So the quickest way to solve the problem is to acquire a cooling van that transports around the country. It's the quickest way, but it may not be the most efficient way. So, and that brings you back to the big picture in the SME space in Nigeria, or in the Nigerian economy. So there are people that are working in the logistics business, but there's nobody focusing on the specific problems for transporting cold material. And you do have a couple, but you see that they are stretched so thinly that they can't offer services that are useful to you, right? So the logistics company that we're using, they try their best, but when others come in, you find out that their trucks are not in Abuja, so you have to wait for their trucks to make the rounds through the country and circle back to Abuja, and by then your LPO is already expired. So there are a lot of problems, but yes, there's a quick way to solve it, but there's a more sustainable way to solve it, which is to invest in the infrastructure to support the companies that have decided to go into logistics, to help them scale, right? We could do it ourselves. I prefer partnering with other SMEs, partnering with other businesses, so that as a whole we are working, should I say, together. There's a synergy, and I am not distracted from the business of cocoa processing. I don't want to leave cocoa processing. That's what I want to do. I don't want to now set up a business that handles logistics or start cracking my head about where my asset is. So there are people that have invested in the base equipment. They have 1 or 2 trucks. So if you provide them with more, they can focus on that particular business, optimize the business, optimize their services, and I can buy from them at a cheaper rate. So I feel that, yeah, there are several ways to solve it, and it all depends on the resources we have to attack the problem.